Plaintiff George Natwick was married to the defendant, and he insists he wouldn't be in court today if she hadn't committed adultery and had him falsely arrested for assault. George says while he sat in jail for 4 months due to the bogus charges, the defendant disposed of his property, so he's suing. Defendant Tammy Natwick says when she met George, he was 43 and she was only 20. Tammy insists George assaulted her and on one occasion choked her while she was holding their baby. She's countersuing for unreturned property and emotional distress.
Start with you.
Your Honor, we wouldn't even be here today if my now ex-wife hadn't committed adultery and had me arrested on bogus, exaggerated charges of domestic violence. In February 2009, I met Tammy at a labor-ready center in Scranton, Pennsylvania. She was stranded, she was homeless, she was out in the middle of a blizzard. I was a lot older than her, and I thought, being where I'm from New York, and just looking at that girl, I knew she was out of place. You could just sense it. I approached her and asked her what her problem was, her story, her situation. She told me that she was slept out in a parking garage in the middle of a blizzard. She had no way to get home. She was just trying to see if she could get some work. I felt compassionate towards that, and I genuinely wanted to help her. I told her, whatever it takes, I'll get you a bus ticket, I'll get you home, wherever you got to go. I let her call her dad. I spoke to her dad, let her know, your daughter's going to be safe. She'll sleep on my sister-in-law's couch for a few days. I'll get you a bus ticket. Don't worry about it. Thank you, okay? While we're at my sister-in-law's house, I was working, trying to help, get the bus ticket. A couple of days go by. She started a relationship with me. I was quite shocked and flattered, to be honest with you. I'm 43 years old.
What do you mean by she started a relationship with you? Were you reluctant?
No, I wasn't reluctant by any means.
So
I had no intention of starting a relationship with a girl who's as old as my children.
You just wanted to rescue her?
I just wanted to send her home. I was trying to help, yeah.
Right.
We were driving home. She didn't have no toothpaste. She didn't have no socks. She didn't have no panties.
Gotcha. How did the relationship ensue?
I was using my cell phone navigation system, and the female voice was talking back to me. Tammy got a mischievous smile on her face, and she looked over. She goes, "Oh, you'd rather talk to her instead of your real girlfriend." And that's when I kind of took a double take. Didn't know that she had a more serious interest in me. I was flattered, but I still didn't know how to approach it.
It took you a while to determine you had an interest in her?
It took me a while to decide I wanted to have an interest.
How long?
I don't know. Maybe the next day. It didn't happen.
Okay. Got you.
I'm keeping it real.
Got you, sir.
Right.
Go ahead, continue.
All right. We started a sexual relationship. I told her my plans were to move out to the West Coast. Portland, Oregon is where I needed to be. I have grown children there. She expressed a desire to want to come. She said, "I have nowhere to go. Nobody will take care of me. I can't go to my family's. I want to come with you. I really like being around you. We seem to have a lot in common. We seem to get along well." We moved out to the West Coast. About 9 months later, we got married. She told me she was pregnant. This is a shot for both of us because we both have pasts. And everything seemed to be going great.
What was your past?
I have a criminal past.
Like what?
Identity theft. Drug addiction. Yeah.
What type of drugs?
Cocaine.
You give me some background, then I'll get back to you. Go ahead.
Okay, Your Honor. Let's see. Like he said, we did meet in Scranton, Pennsylvania. When we met, he was 43. I was 20. We started talking. A few days later, we kind of, mutually hooked up. We went to Oregon, and everything was going pretty good. He's a hard-working man. I can give him that. He's very, at the beginning he was wonderful. He was nice. He would go to work and he'd come home and...
So what went wrong? You said in the beginning. What happened ultimately?
I went back to Iowa. The next day I got back to Iowa, I went over to see a friend of mine. And it just so happens that one of my ex-boyfriends was there. Well, when he found out that I was associating with my ex-boyfriend, he got an attitude. He got very irate, yelling and screaming at me over the phone. I told him, I said, "You know what, fine, I'm done." So for about that week, we had broken up, and I had actually ended up hooking up with my ex-boyfriend one night.
So let's understand what you're saying. You're saying that when your husband called...
No, we weren't married at that time.
Oh, okay.
We were just dating at that time.
Oh.
We didn't get married. That was in June of 09.
And you got married after that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you must have been getting high that moment. Go ahead, sir. What are you suing her about, this personal property?
Okay, Your Honor. So after I came home from work on December 13th, happy, in love, 4-month-old baby in my house. Dinner's still frozen in the freezer. She's just laying around in the same shorts she's been sitting in for a while. I take a shower. I'm aggravated. Been a hard day. I'm on a really big job. I go to bed. I wake up at about 12:30 at night to go to the bathroom. My wife is hiding in the corner on the internet. All the lights out. Very suspicious of the nature of what was our household normal. I went over and I snatched the laptop out of her hand, and she's involved with internet sexual conversations with some strangers. I became enraged.
Sexual.
It's absolutely true.
No.
I became extremely enraged. I started reading the text of the chat room that she was logged on to. He was like, hey, I really miss you. She's like, I got to admit, I was really turned on by that. I'm really interested. This stranger guy asks her, how's my son doing? Now, not only is she committing digital adultery or whatever on the internet, she's got my son involved in this relationship with this weirdo off the internet.
Sorry,
she has an
proud of my
extreme
son.
fascination with the internet and the role-playing world, I've come to find out.
Go ahead, continue.
Long story short, yeah, I became really angry. We got in a heated argument.
It wasn't just an argument.
A little bit of shoving went on. I did push her, shoved her right down on the couch after she tried to hit me in the head with a hammer. Of course, I'd protect myself.
I didn't try to hit you in the head with a hammer.
Tried to bash me in the back of the head with a hammer. Okay. Anyways, my son woke up. I picked him up. We left for a little while, let things calm down. About 4 hours later, I got woke up with guns in my face, cops standing there pointing guns at me and my 4-month-old son, talking about domestic violence, this and that. I said, that's BS. This chick's crazy. She's got a lot of emotional issues. She's bipolar.
No, I'm not.
They dragged me out. You don't really have a chance as a guy in those situations.
Let me allow her to respond to that, and then we'll get to the property you're suing about.
Okay, this ain't the only altercation that he and I have had that's been...
Did you want to respond to being called in the corner, chat room cheating?
I was online, I was talking to people, and I did make that comment to somebody, but it wasn't in a sexual way. It was joking, it was LOL.
What about this assault, though? That's no joke. What happened there?
Okay, he was like, oh, you're on one of those sex sites, whatever. I was like, no, it's not a sex site. Well, he started getting very verbal abusive. Then he started physically abusing me. He was pushing me around. He was knocking me in the head. He had also choked me while I was holding our son.
Now, did you press charges? Was he convicted and sentenced?
He was, I did press charges the following day. However...
Was he convicted and sentenced?
He ended up getting let go because I left the state. So the charges ended up getting dropped.
Okay. All right. Let's get to
She
the
was there
property.
just the day before to have the restraining order dismissed.
Let's see it.
No. On her own words, she wanted it dismissed.
Now, after a while, after
No, ma'am,
like a
you
month
said
or
you had
so
left the
went
state.
by.
Ma'am, you said you had left the state.
Yes.
You left the state the next day when you were supposed to prosecute him? Go ahead, sir.
Okay, then
Personal property. Let's get to that.
While I sat in jail for 4 months, she disposed of all of our marital assets, all of my personal property, all of my son's property, all of my oldest son's property, which was stored in the bay, everything that we'd accumulated over the last couple of years was gone, disposed of.
Did you address this during the divorce?
Yes, I did. She filed for divorce in February. I counterclaimed in February. At that time, Tammy did flee the state when she found out that everything was turning against her and her lies were starting to be found out. I was starting to accumulate tons of evidence against her. Namely the conviction she has for biting her child in the state of Iowa, third-degree burns, diaper rashes. I have a letter here from Tammy.
Burns and bites?
Yes. I have a sworn notarized affidavit from Tammy. I have a divorce decree.
That's what I need. Let's see that.
I'd like you to read all that, Your Honor.
The divorce decree state the settlement.
That's
all I can do today is enforce the settlement.
It's in there, sir.
I can't rehear the property issue.
No, just where she admits here that she committed adultery and sold everything. She admits
you wrote that, and then I rewrote it out because you were kicking me out. What was I supposed to do?
Let's get to what this says about personal property. All right, he was awarded $6,000. Now, what are you saying? She did not pay the $6,000?
She hasn't paid it. She said she won't.
Ma'am, do you have a defense against paying the $6,000 divorce decree judgment?
Yes, because of the fact that those were stuff that was accumulated in our marriage. We were married, and when he went to jail, I had to have he wouldn't let me work throughout our relationship, so I couldn't get a job or anything.
Okay.
So that was the only way I could provide for my son was to get money somehow.
Did you tell the judge that at the divorce hearing?
I was not able to go to the divorce hearing.
All right, good
I was not able to because he kicked me out and I had to move to Arkansas.
Can we get to the count, man? I don't believe all that. You told me you left town a minute ago. Your counterclaim for $4,500 for personal property and emotional distress. How does he owe you?
Well, he has my belongings from when I was up there. He's got my grandmother's.
What belongings?
My grandmother's knickknacks.
Knickknacks, you say?
Knickknacks. Her blanket that I had in there that was given to me. Clothing that was left behind of mine. That sort of thing. The emotional distress was, I have here an email that he had sent to me. He was calling me a 2-bit trailer trash. He also, I have Facebook stuff here from on Facebook. He was sitting there calling me an in lover. He's called me all different.
At what point was that, man? What? Okay, that's the blanket. All right. When was he doing all this name calling? What dates, ma'am?
He sent the letter on August 22nd, 2011. Okay. And then
after our divorce, after she cheated on me and whored and all that.
The Facebook stuff is from August 7th, goes all the way up to August 28th.
Okay. Sir?
You know, there was a lot of chitter-chatter back and forth at that juncture. I didn't even care anymore. We were already divorced.
All right. I am going to grant you $500 for emotional distress or harassment, if you will, for all the curse words that he has written to you. However, I'm going to grant his $5,000 for personal property. The judge said $6,000. The maximum here is $5,000, so I'm going to grant him that maximum because you have not obeyed the judge. Judgment for the plaintiff, $5,000. Please return her things to her. Counterclaim, $500 for the harassment, leaving you with $4,500. Have a good day, folks.
Thank you, Your Honor. Tammy, you know you've blown this way out of proportion. You know what you did to me in our marriage was wrong. You had no right to just go out and start seeking to have relationships with other people. I took care of you well.
I wasn't having a relationship with nobody.
Excuse me, my hot and wet.
I was on.
I'm turned on. Oh, how's little Zachy doing to a stranger on the internet?
I can't talk about my son.
No, not to some guy you're throwing your to. Come on,
I'm doing nothing to nobody.
You. Well, you know what?
You never cared about me. You never.
He belongs now. The baby's safe. He's healthy. Graciously, we were blessed with him, and you it up.
I did. I it up.
Yeah, by cheating, by throwing our life away. All you had to do was talk to me.
What about hitting my head against the window?
What about trying to smash my head in with a hammer?
Yeah, whatever. You were trying to smash my glasses with a hammer.
Okay, yeah. That's why everybody sees you to be a liar, but you know?
On the police report,
you tell so many lies.
Pictures where you choked me
where you sat there like this and they proved it?